engine room is full of water.
Joys of sailing around the world.
I'm Ben, that's Ashley. After 5 years of sailing around the world, we've seen a few things in our travels. We thought it was time to share some of those things we've learned along the way. What follows is a collection of stories and videos we shot over the past 5 years, some of which we've never shown before.
Wanna hammer it out? Yeah, I got my hand on it.
How much water came out? Let's see it.
Not too bad. You wanna see it?
Yeah, let's see it. Oh my gosh!
After crossing the Pacific, you arrive in what's known as French Polynesia. It's one of the biggest highlights on any circumnavigation. But with anything this gorgeous, there comes hidden dangers, not only on top of the mountains, but also under the water. You see, almost all the islands here have a barrier reef. On one side, it's thousands of feet deep, and on the other, maybe a foot or two, leaving zero margin for error. Now imagine sailing at night. It's windy, the boat's groaning, and you can't see. You make a small navigational mistake,
Oh, I think it's destroyed. Maritime units. It's huge.
It's remote out here, isolated and rugged. Forgiving is one thing it is not. This is the shipwreck of the Tanda Maleka, our first major wreck we came across. It would not be the last. The story goes, in the middle of the night, they trusted their charts just a little bit too much. By the time they noticed that they were within meters of a reef, it was too late.
Well, they've done a really good job of getting most everything off the boat. It's crazy because the boat's actually moving a little. Every time a wave hits, and it actually looks like it's floating in a little bit.
As we continued to sail across the Pacific, we spotted a small, permanently submerged atoll on the charts by the name of Beveridge Reef. Often the distances out here can be quite large, so we stop wherever we find shelter.
Yeah, so it's a fair amount windier than it was forecast to be. About 10 knots windier. It's pretty much steady 30 knots right now. We've reduced sail again. Just furled in more Genoa. And yeah, we're freaking moving. We're averaging about 8.5 knots and we've done 14 point something down these huge waves. So it's kind of a little bit nuts.
Unfortunately, this is where we would find the stricken catamaran Avanti. A minor mistake landed them on top of this reef in the middle of the night, and then inside the atoll once the high tide floated them off.
That's so awful. Oh, it's starting to stink.
Yeah, it is. It smells like wet.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Check that out.
Yeah.
That's a nice looking helm seat. That's what we need.
Lots of good ropes on there. Solar panels, someone can use those.
This is the second wreck we've seen in probably just over a month. This one hit Beverage Reef here. Well, basically on a lot of chart plotters, Beverage Reef isn't really shown properly at all. And they accidentally ran into it when they were sailing between, I guess somewhere in the Cook Islands and Niue. It's pretty tragic, gorgeous boat. Do you see the keels at all or no?
The what?
Are there keels and you can't tell, eh?
Oh, I wonder.
Oh, it's so sad, eh?
It's like the same road that really we have.
They were just sailing at night, dark night, no moon. You can't hear the surf break from these reefs as you're getting close because it's windy out and your rigging's howling and there's boat noises. So all of a sudden they're surfing down a wave, I suspect. I can only imagine, but all of a sudden they're surfing down these huge breakers and they hit this reef at full speed. Obviously their keels bounced over top of the reef, but their sail dries ripped out, causing the back of the boat to sink in the water. So our biggest problem would probably be hitting the sail drive and tearing this right off. This sail drive is connected to the engine, and then there's usually a propeller on the back of this. I'm working on the propeller right now, so obviously you can't see it, but if you were to tear this off completely, you'd have a huge gaping hole right in here. Okay, so if we look at our entire boat, our boat is actually divided up into multiple sections, and some of those are waterproof sections. So the first one is so we have 1, 2, 3 waterproof sections. Those are basically always closed off to prevent water from breaching, especially the 2 on the front. There's a very small one on the front. Let's go inside and have a look and see what it's like in there. They're pretty big, kind of crazy. All right, I think I have to speak quietly because it's really echoing in here. It's basically just a ladder on this side that comes down. It gets hot in here quick. It's pretty tall. I'm 6'4" and I'm not even touching. Yeah, so it's pretty deep. And then over here, we have another waterproof compartment that is completely sealed off. Let's have a look inside and see what's in there. Now the story goes, we actually arrived at this reef, I think it was like 3 to 5 days later. They sat on the reef for the rest of the night with waves pounding them. They waited till high tide, at which point a boat inside the reef came out and helped them, and I think either they came into the atoll with the high tide or that other boat helped drag them across the reef. That whole entire sailboat was written off due to insurance. We were there a couple days later, and the word in the atoll or on the street was not to take anything from this boat. The owners were still planning to come back and get the rest of the possessions, so we all respected that and we didn't take anything.
This is an older wreck on Beverage Reef, and an old fishing boat. And I think it's been here about probably what, 5 years at least? 10 years? I don't know. Anyway, it's been here a while because we saw old cruising blogs of fellow cruisers that had it, and it was half afloat still. So this place does take its toll on boats that sink. Craziness.
Let's not hit a reef.
Not good for boats to hit reefs.
As we continued across the Pacific, our own boat needed some repairs, so we pulled into the tiny island nation of Palau. A pretty idyllic place to repair a boat.
So we're here in Palau, and we have a problem underwater. One of the through hulls is leaking. So this is the first time we're going to do this in the water. We have a newfound friend down here helping us out. Say hi, Torsten. Hi, Torsten. And Ben here, who's about to get in the water.
It's clean, it's harbor water, but it's very clean, it's plowed. Anyways, we're gonna pull the through hull out and then put in a new one, hopefully. Let's see how it goes. Kind of nervous.
We're gonna have an 1.5-inch hole in our boat, spurting water from the outside to the inside.
There's actually tons of holes on a boat. There's holes for the pooper, there's holes for the water intake to flush the toilet, there's holes for cooling the engine, there's bilge pump holes. There's just a lot, and through all these holes we have what's called a through hull. A through hull is basically just a piece of metal that has a flange and then a nut on the other side. And then attached to the through hull is what's called a shutoff valve, or a seacock, because we like to name things differently on a boat.
We'll see how this goes. He's in. Wooden plug's out.
Cork's out.
The petit bouchon.
Petit what?
Petit bouchon.
What does that mean?
The small plug. The problem is it's seized on, so step one is to unseize the bloody thing. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go to plan B. So let's see how plan A goes. Moving.
Before you put it through, already put the wooden plug in as you have it.
All right, I'm being put to work.
Hold on. This is the fun part.
Is it working? You can put your hand over it. Can you take the piece out towards it?
Yeah, I got my hand on it.
How much water came out? Let's see it.
Not too bad. You want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it. Oh my gosh. That's pretty awesome. Is it hard to hold?
No. There's zero pressure on there. It's so shallow.
Just think about if you had a real hole in your boat.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe two of those.
Yeah.
Ben?
So this is the new piece. It's gonna go back in. You saw that water? That's pretty amazing, the gush. So Ben's just cleaning up the outside, then we're gonna put this new piece in. Okay, we're back. Regooped. Is that better?
Yeah, should I put the plug in? Hey, should I?
Yeah.
Like this. Okay.
Okay. What do you think? It's not in there. It's not in there very well. Don't drop that thing.
You ready, Torsten?
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm gonna put it in now. I'm gonna put it in the hole.
And then go up the hole and the hole 3.
It's gonna get going, Kenneth. 1,
2, 3.
What do you think, Torsten? How'd that go? Okay.
And that's on.
Nuts on! Do you want goop?
Not yet.
Not yet. Clean it up a bit first.
This is perfect. Beautiful execution.
Nice job, eh?
Okay. Right, Ben. Just hold her there so I can goop her up, yeah? You have goop? Oh, sweet.
Do you want a little acetone here? I'll re-acetone you. Need a flashlight? Most excitement we've had in a while. And he doesn't mind playing with goop. I like it. Hole in boat plugged. Feels pretty good.
It's funny, you know, like if you actually think about it, there's so many pumps on your boat. You've got like the bilge pumps, which are the obvious ones. You've got hand pumps, and you can use all of them to get water out of your boat.
That's why it's not working. Learn to use the camera, right, Ashley? All right, so we're here in a beautiful anchorage, and Ben's gonna do us a little demo on how to get water out of things and how fast you can do it. Just to give you an idea of, we got some fancy stuff too. Just wait.
When the Coast Guard pulls up to a sinking boat, one of the first things they do is they put a high flow pump on the boat. And these are usually huge pumps. It goes to show, like, you gotta get the water out as much as you gotta plug the hole. So best is to do both at the same time. All right, let's get the show on the road.
Nice shades, man.
I lost my other shades. I got dark shades on today. Don't judge me. When it comes to getting the water out of your boat, which is a big priority when you, for example, can't stop it from coming in, you have a few options. You actually have a lot more options than you think. We're gonna do a few tests, and all of these tests are gonna involve this bucket. This is a 10-gallon bucket, or for those of you that think in liters, this is a 40-liter bucket. we're gonna fill this up and we're gonna time how long it takes to fill up depending on the pump we use. So to start off with, we're gonna start with this pump. This is our high flow pump. This pump is required by our insurance. Essentially, if everything hits the fan, this pump is what we're gonna use to get the water out of the boat. So this pump pumps out a huge amount of volume of water. It's crazy, like it's pretty good. So let's see how fast it fills up this bucket.
Ready.
Set, go. Is it already full?
Yeah.
Wow, that's quick, eh? 20 seconds. So that's pretty quick. That's really quick.
Don't lose that pump.
Now, most people don't carry a high flow pump like that one, but big boats all have built-in engines typically. I mean, those that don't have outboards have built-ins. And if they have a built-in engine, they have a raw water pump to cool off that engine. So let's start up our engine and have a look at what comes out of that engine. This thing right down here, the exhaust, that is powered by the raw water pump on the engine that's built in. And what you can actually do is take that hose off. Instead of sucking from the outside, you can take that hose off and put it into your bilge and suck the water out of your bilge and dump it out through this thing as well. Let's have a look inside and see what that actually looks like and where that water actually comes from. So this thing right here is our raw water pump for our engine. It sucks in raw water, so salt water. Now the big question is, how fast can the pump on the engine pump out this bucket of water? So we're gonna do this twice. The first time we're gonna do it by just idling the engine and timing it, and then we're gonna do it again by revving the engine, because the faster the engine revs, the faster that raw water pump will spin and the faster it will suck the water out of this. Let's go have a look inside and see how the bucket's doing. Oh. Okay, so we're just over 2 minutes on that one. Now we're gonna fill the bucket once again, and we'll time it one more time by revving the engine up. There you go. Minute and 17 seconds.
Whoa, really?
What does Admiral think of my geniusness?
You're a genius, Ben. You're a genius, Ben.
So if all else fails, you should have a manual pump. This manual pump came from our dinghy. We carry it in your dinghy because our dinghy floods often. Sometimes I forget to put the plug in. Let's see how long it takes to empty or fill a 10-gallon bucket with a manual pump.
Ready, set, go.
This pump kind of sucks. You may want to invest in a better manual pump. It takes a really long time, burns off a lot of calories, but it does work. There's a lot of ways to get water out of your boat. A lot of ways. Just gotta get creative. The trick is really not getting water in your boat in the first place, because it's a lot of work to get it out.
A bucket could work.
How much time do we have?
1 minute and 30 seconds. 29, 28, we'll give you that.
Oh. So a minute and a half. A minute and a half to pump out a 10-gallon bucket of water. If I had the choice, and you don't always have the choice, but if you have the choice and you have enough room to get out where the water's coming in, it's much faster to simply scoop the water up and dump it overboard. We just pulled anchor out of like the stinkiest bay ever. The bay is not actually stinky, but the mud on the bottom of the bay is just nasty. So I thought I might as well use our high capacity water pump to rinse down our anchor well. By the way, I picked this pump up for $50. I don't know how much they are like commercially or for resale, but some other cruiser was selling it for 50 bucks. I think that's a pretty good win. This dude that was selling it had 2 of them. I think one's enough.
I think that's what he decided.
Yeah.
He gave you a deal.